Welcome to Keyframers, the animated collaborative coding live stream where we bring imaginative user interfaces to life. I'm your host, Stephen Shaw, but you may know me as @Shashaw.
And I'm David Khourshid, your host as well, also known as David K. Piano.
Together, we are coding compadres, animation amigos, Boolean buddies, and keyframe companions.
Yeah, we'll be creating an animation from scratch live using HTML, CSS, and a small bit of JavaScript today.
And this show is made possible by your support. You can pledge at patreon.com/keyframers or subscribe here at twitch.tv/keyframers. The links are available below, and you may even earn special shoutouts during the stream.
Yeah, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have, so reach out in the Twitch chat or the YouTube comments. We do listen to those comments, and as well as any challenges presented, which is what brings us to what we're doing today.
Yeah, funnily enough, this stream is a little bit based on a challenge. Should we just get right into it?
Let's do it, yeah.
All right, let's get everything pulled up here. This is called Tab Bar Interaction with Animated Icons, a lively name by Keaton for Mind Inventory. And this was given to us by Joseph Rexme on Slack, and you can find him there on Twitter at Joseph Rexme. He sent this over to us, wanting to see what we could do, and I upped the ante, saying CSS only should be feasible. What do you think?
Yeah,
what do you think, David?
I think so as well. You know, we have that input option, HTML stuff that we've done before in previous episodes.
That's right.
So,
and with 3 options, I don't think that'll be too difficult to set up.
Right. Yeah. So it's definitely an option.
Yeah.
For us. Or 3.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. So yeah, let's take it a little bit slower here. I'm just going through it in GIF Scrubber. So when an icon is clicked, the cutout kind of slides over and the icon pops in, and the background is shifting as well to indicate what tab you're on. All right, shall we get into the code then?
Yeah, so I'm just doing a little bit of setup over here.
You and your setup.
Well, yeah.
Just cutting out the boring parts.
Pretty much, you know, just getting all the HTML set up and all that good stuff.
Yeah, write to us in the chat if you like the boring parts or if you want us to skip those. I'm just going to go ahead.
Likes the boring parts.
Going to go ahead and close the JavaScript pane there so that we can see that.
The JavaScript pane? Is it painful?
Pain, yes. JavaScript pains me. Pains me greatly.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're going to try to do it without JavaScript today.
Yes, that will certainly not be painful.
Yeah, so one of the things is that when I first looked at this, we were talking about maybe using SVG for it, but the problem with SVG is, actually, it's not really much of a problem, but like just sizing it responsively, right? And doing all of that, plus animating it, and you'll see, we'll animate this in a way where we don't really need to use JavaScript too much, because if we were going to use SVG, then we would have had to definitely do some JavaScript, because we would be editing like the actual path, the curved path, and just shifting that from left to right. But
that's right.
Yeah, that's the wrong call.
No, it's not. The menu itself is going to be white, so I'm just giving us a different color there for the initial slide. The slides themselves will be providing the actual color there, but you know. Okay.
All right, so yeah, I got the HTML set up right over there. So let's just we're going to be using basically a variation on sliding layers. And so the way this is going to work is where we're going to have a nav container element, and that nav container element is going to have its overflow hidden. And that's because we're going to be sliding this larger layer that's like behind the nav. And funny enough, this is like a lot easier to describe like with real life things. You know what? I'm gonna try to use actual paper here and describe it, just because I think it's useful. So let me go ahead and just do that real quick. Is that gonna work? I believe that's gonna work. That's totally gonna work. Okay. 1 minute, please.
Holding for 1 minute.
Yeah, basically I'm going to show you how this is going to work physically, and then we're going to turn that physically into real life and do it. So, all right, let's go back to the animation. See, it's a little cut out, and honestly, it's not my favorite looking thing in the world. But, you know, sometimes you have to do what your designer or your boss wants you to do.
That's right. Yeah, this particular style, I don't know if it's quite in vogue right now. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of lessons that can be learned.
Yeah,
here.
a lot of lessons. And I think the thing is, like, this would have been like considered in vogue, trendy, a while ago, like as a skeuomorphic sort of thing. So in a skeuomorphic area, in simpler times, except it wasn't simpler times, it was like much more complex times. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm just doing some general setup here.
All right, fair enough. I wish I had scissors. Right now, I'm in Seattle, and they don't let you bring scissors on airplanes, so.
Huh, why not?
I don't know. Probably because of 9/11 or whatever, but. Anyway, that's okay. I will improv. This show is all about improv anyway.
That's right.
In fact, that's what all of programming is. It's just improv. Like, we're just making it up as we go, really. This has been Deep Thoughts by David Khourshid. Okay, let's see what we could do here. Beautiful. All right.
I always forget the order of the box shadow.
Say what?
I always forget the order of the border radius properties.
Oh yeah, so it's typically always XY, right? You always have your XY, and then the third value means something. I forget. And then and then you have your color.
Yeah.
And that's box shadow. Or you could just go to MDN and figure that out. All right. Yeah, basically this is a long-winded way of explaining what we're going to do. And the concept is actually probably really simple, but I wanted to explain it like this anyway. So, okay. Let's cover this up right there. And this up right there. All right, you're gonna have to let me know if you could see this. Ready?
I'm ready.
So, here is our like nav layer, right?
Yeah.
And here is our background layer.
Let me go to the large webcams for this. Yeah, raise it up a little bit. There you go.
Okay.
Beautiful.
So basically, if you imagine this layer being overflow hidden, we slide to the left, Like that's what we're going to get. And we could also slide to the right. So we just need to make this and this and put them together, overflow hidden, and we get that sliding part. Now, because these two are going to be the same color, it's going to give the illusion of it being the exact same object.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just a general idea. But to accomplish that, this needs to be 3 times as wide as this, just so that it could go, all the way here, all the way here.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do it.
Easy enough. So are you wanting to actually use SVG to make that shape?
No.
Well, the cutout shape?
No.
Oh, hey, we're not in Keyflections. Go away.
So we actually don't have to use that, thankfully. And I will show you why. So let's do a sample UI label. And so, all right, so we have these UI labels. Thinking. Because, all right, we're going to be using transition to move that between each of the positions, which is fine. Okay, yeah. So we could use. All right, let me go back to the thing. See, that's the tricky thing, is it's so skeuomorphic that and it doesn't make it easy. But just to be safe, I was thinking, oh, we could just use the pseudo element, but like I'm going to have a UI BG, stands for UI background piece, and that's what's going to be behind here. Now this UI background piece is going to be that 3 times as long moving layer. So remember, layer, which means position absolute, and stretching the full width and the full height, but we're going to make this one 3 times as wide. So with 300% and height 100%, and we're going to make that background white just to show you. Okay, so it covers everything. That's good. And so, yeah, well, we're just going to use CSS, where it's like if the first choice is chosen, then it's going to be all the way to the left. If the last choice is chosen, it's going to be all the way to the right. So you could sort of envision how that's going to transition from point A to point B to point C, and in between any of those points. Now, for the actual styling, let me do some brainstorming here.
Right, that's what I was suggesting SVG for.
No, don't worry about that. Don't worry. And there's a trick, and I've used this trick to make some of my CSS-only like animals, like just doing that cutout. And the trick is background image of ellipse. Yeah. And so I'm just trying to remember how to do that. So okay, first of all, we need the size of the circle. So let's say that's
it's probably about what, 60%, 80% of the 300% width.
Well, 60% of one of the 300% width things. So 30, 60, man, math.
Well, why don't you think through that a little bit? I'm gonna handle the state changes really quick.
Okay, sure.
Just so we get some simple setup.
All right, go for it. And talk through it too, so I know what you're doing.
Yes.
Oh, geez, wide.
Yeah. Sorry, that's just nullifying your position relative. I'm going to go ahead and move all that to the top so that it doesn't wig out again.
Wow,
we shouldn't. And then I'm going to add that nice transition all. 1 second.
Yeah. Which is our best friend for for all that.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
All right, so let's just do the ID here. Checked. And I'm using the adjacent sibling selector. Is that? Then we'll do label or equals 1.
Everyone's going to be right 0. So yeah, you're basically doing the same thing that we've done in previous episodes, right?
Yeah.
Just doing the check thing and.
Right. I'm changing the names of them a little bit to make it look a little more unified, a little more.
Okay.
Could potentially even do a
SAS
loop here.
CSS is broken. Yeah, let me know if you need help with that. It's not hard.
Yeah.
I promise.
Wait, bold. Let's just do that really quick.
Oh man, there's a lot of math to this, but it's not too crazy.
Okay, there we go. So yeah, when that item is selected, we get the nice bolding of that. If I select the other, it goes away. Let me tone down that transition time because I think that's what's happening. Why it was not feeling responsive.
Okay.
Label, do background red, so we get some nice, yeah, there we go. Got some good feedback there.
Oh boy, where are my pseudo elements?
Just doing the same thing.
Lost my pseudo elements. I hate when that happens.
It is rather annoying. 3.
Oh yeah, because I'm making this 3 times as wide, that's going to be tricky. I mean, yes, it does need to be 3 times as wide, so or does it? Looking back at the animation real quick.
I don't know that it specifically needs to be 300% wide, but I don't know what the exact numbers would be there.
You know what? No, it doesn't. Let's make this simple. We're going to make the background. The background's going to be 100%. And that's going to make this a lot easier to work with. Because what we could do is we could just make, I'm using pseudo elements to style this, so I could just make those pseudo elements like really, really, really big instead. And that'll just work. All right, so before, yeah, left 0, and this one's going to be right 0, align offset, -2 pixels, just to see what we're working with. Okay, perfect. So we have those 2 there. And yeah, basically we want to nudge those in a little bit based on the size of the icon. And we said the size of the icon is going to be, or the size of the circle cutout. Just for simplicity, let's give it a fixed size. So we're going to say that the width is 50 viewport height. So we could say that it's 10. Just give it a nice even number. So that's going to be the size of the cutout. Yeah.
All right, with you so far.
Yeah, so which means that we have 33%. I feel like Rain Man or something. 33%, then the 10 viewport width. Yeah, we're just basically trying to. Oh, okay. So the left is going to be calc 33% minus 5 viewport height. That sort of worked. So it's going to just be 5 viewport height. Just kidding. Okay, perfect. And then the right is going to be, well, calc 5 viewport. I don't even need calc here, but that's a little too much. So, whatever, I'll just later. So each of these left and right things, now we're going to make them, okay, so make them basically really, really, really wide. All right, so.
What's the Emmet shortcut for the number?
It should be $sign or something like that.
Just $sign. Nice.
Yeah,
that'll
right?
do it. That does it.
Good. It's not working.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, cool. Okay, that should work. Yes. So now we're going to calc that and add like 5 viewport height. Or subtract 5 viewport height. And I'll definitely explain the math later. Whoa, that's too much.
Yeah, gotta get the math right first.
Viewport height, yeah. And then now the way we're going to style those curvy bits is border radius. So border top right. This is one of the things that really trips me up. In a lot of CSS, it goes X then Y, horizontal then vertical. So border is not that way with the property name. Border is vertical then horizontal, as in border top right radius. And that doesn't make sense to me. That's a little silly.
Making use of our flex overlap deal again, so that we can get that in place. We might actually not even need to use that if we're already doing some calculations for sliding left and right. We might be able to utilize the same thing, but for now, I'm going to set it up that way.
Yeah, it works.
Right.
All right, so you sort of see where I'm going with this whole thingy.
I see something happening, yes.
See at the bottom? Yeah, that's what we want. And then, so the final part to this is that that background image. So just gotta think through that.
The background image?
Yeah, because we're going to be using the ellipse background image. So I'll go ahead and post
the actual round dot. Yeah.
Yeah, the radial gradients, all that sort of. Actually, is it a radial? Yeah, it is a radial gradient. Yeah, so I will definitely be posting that. Now, the syntax to the syntax to this whole radial gradient mess is pretty crazy. So I'll link you to a really good CSS tricks article on that. I'll go ahead and post it in the chat room.
Don't worry about that. Radial gradient.
Yeah, so I'm just going to be taking one of the samples there just to show you where we're going to be using a circle background gradient. So let's try that. See how that looks, except I don't see my nav anymore. Where's my nav?
Oh, don't worry about it.
I'm worrying about it. Where is it?
I need some z-index
little
bumping.
Bit, like 9,000 or something.
Nah.
Yeah, boom, there it is. Beautiful. All right, and so that's exactly the color we want. Let's see. All right, so the trick with doing this, via a radial gradient is first of all, we're going to have two background images. I'll show you what that is. So not only are we going to have a radial gradient, but we're going to have a linear gradient as well. And that's so that we could, this one's going to be going to bottom, transparent at 50%, and then like white at 50% white. And maybe that should go here. Let's blue, see what that does. Well, I have that in the wrong order, so. Yes, I do have that in the wrong order.
Yeah, that's I always forget which goes where for overlapping backgrounds.
Yeah. All right. So thinking. Yeah, still trying to think how this is going to work, but it will work. I believe in us.
Yeah, we'll find out. Alright, just testing out my selection code here. Okay. That'll work.
Cool.
Yeah, and there's a lot of repetition here that could potentially be simplified with Sass loops or something like that, but yeah, we'll do it raw CSS for fun.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I might have to rethink the thing because I thought I could just use like a radial gradient in order to create that like cutout circle, but it's just such a unique shape that you can't exactly do that.
Yeah.
However, there's still a way. So we could UI. I'm gonna add, when in doubt, just add more HTML, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so we're going to have this background is of course transparent. But yeah, so in that UIVG, so we have that part out of the way, that's good. We're going to have a UI cutout. So that UI cutout, and so that's going to go right in the middle. And in order to get that right in the middle, first we need like the whole size of it. So let's see, outline 2 pixels solid blue. And so we're going to give it a width of 6 viewport height. I decided that like it's just going to be 6 viewport height wide. So we're going to have left calc 50% minus 3 viewport height, and that's going to center it. Then height 100%.
Yep.
And so that's going to sit right there. Although oddly enough, that's not, I don't know why my after is missing now. It's a little weird. Let's see. Cut out after. Oh. Yes. Top 0. Weird. All right, so 66 viewport minus 3 viewport. Oh. So width is calc 33.33% minus 6 viewport height. And then
there we go. Okay, awesome. I've got my simple slider working. I did unify the code a little bit. This is very similar to last week's episode of the gliding gallery in the same way that we that we accomplished that. Link is in the chat. That's a really good one that you should definitely check out. We've got all of the data pages overlapping using this kind of flex overlap technique. Display flex on the parent of UI pages, and then each page is 100% width of that parent with a margin right of negative 100%. So all of those items are actually overlapping on each other. And then when the correct nav item is checked, the selected page is opacity 1. By default, the data pages are opacity 0 and translated X off to the left. And then any data pages after are translated X to the right. And then when it's selected, it's translate X 0. So you get that fun sliding effect.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to math this whole thing right now. It's not really working for me, but it almost is.
Let's see what you got going on here.
No, don't worry about it. Don't even look. Gosh.
I'll start pulling some icons for the nav while you're doing that. Just feel free to call Uncle whenever you need.
Call who?
Uncle.
Uncle.
Yeah. Say Uncle, whatever the proper term is. Are you not familiar?
I don't know my uncle's phone number.
No.
I cannot contact my uncle.
Well.
Unfortunately. Okay, left. Calc minus 3 people. Hey, we'll just be eyeballing this. That's fine. Okay. So 4 and after. Lots of pseudo elements drawing here. So we're doing a bit of CSS drawing, which I guess you could consider some sort of skill, like a learned skill, that people like me like to do for whatever reason.
Clinical insanity.
Yeah, yeah. Probably.
So I'm pulling some icons from icomoon, icomoon.io, and they've got just a great little interface for selecting icons and pulling things down. And you can generate SVGs of that and just download or get the exact code for them, which get those plugged in, but just wanted to show where that was coming from, and that's cool. Just ignore me. Go. It's a fancy gradient you got happening there.
Thanks. Oh, that's not... All right, so background size, cover, something like that. Contain. Yeah, I'm not getting my correct background size that I want.
Contain should be right. Is your before element is only 50%. If that's what you're looking at.
Right, because I'm saying, I'm not sure why this is so huge though. It shouldn't be that big because, yeah, my before should be that, and then my after should be the same thing, but at the top left. And we should get, so right, 0. Wherever it is. Let's see. Or, So now I'm thinking of a plan C. It's
SVG?
always a plan C. No, not SVG. Not quite yet. We don't need to go that far.
I'm not even talking about animating path. I'm just talking about making the shape with
I know,
SVG.
but I feel like I have a challenge to myself to.
Well, you're certainly challenging me.
All right, maybe plan Q.
Plan 45.
Box shadow. Maybe that'll work.
That's right. Plan C.
It is fancy.
Plan C, not fancy.
Oh, also fancy. You don't even know.
I think I know.
Okay. Yeah, let's try that out. Okay, so the width is 6 viewport height. The height, let's also make it 6 viewport height because why not? Yeah, just so that we have a perfect square. Come on, where's my square?
For the icons
there it is.
Here.
Okay. Border radius 50%. So the reason I'm looking at box shadow to do this is because there's this natural thing that happens where the word actually cuts out on the actual elements. So if we do box shadow, let's say like 1 rem, 0 white, haha, this is totally gonna work. So you could see that it cuts out naturally, but 50% doesn't work. So I have to use actual like 3 viewport, 3 viewport height, 0 white. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. And then negative 3 viewport height, 3 viewport, 0 white as well. You see what I'm doing?
A little bit.
I'm painting using box shadow. Okay.
There was a recent article on this, I believe. CSS tricks.
Was there?
Let's see. I don't know. Chris Goyer, are you with us?
I don't know if he is. Okay, cool. So I just have to get the sizing right now. Size 6 viewport height. So change each of these. Size minus 2. And it should still be good. So I could change the size to like 8 viewport height if I wanted to. And there we go. That's pretty spot on, almost, more or less. That's what we want. Nice.
It's weird. I thought there was a post about this recently, but
sizing's a tiny bit off, but it's okay. Oh, and actually, funny enough, I could just move these pseudo elements to that cutout. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm basically spending all my time on this cutout right here.
Whoa. It's interesting.
Don't worry.
I'm a little worried.
Okay, so let's see what we have, what we're working with here. Width 100%, height 100%, that's all fine. But all right, so the one before we want it to be right, this time we want it to be 100%. And this is just so that we have the sizing completely correct. And there we go. You see we have the little
hey.
it looks like a logo. Like, you know that bird, like the eagle logo? Uh, what am I talking about? Like, it's a very popular,
Logo with
um,
the eagle.
I don't know, it's some airline or something like that.
Hmm. Uh,
Yeah, it's
Dian
it's like an
Dian in the chat is asking, "What's going on with the box shadow?"
oh
Can
oh
you explain that again, really quick?
sure. So the thing with box shadow is that it works under the element. So the CSS engine is going to paint the box shadow everywhere except on the actual element.
Right. I've
So
added a border to the actual cutout element here, so you can see kind of what's the actual shape is.
yeah.
Um, and
So
then the box shadow is projecting that same shape down below.
yeah, and so I gave it different colors just to show you that we have three different box shadows here. We have one on the left, which is the red one. We have one on the right, which is the blue one, and then we have one right in the middle just to color that gap in, which is a green one. So if we turn those all to white, then we're going to see that that covers up everything.
Da, 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 da.
And so that works a lot better than I thought it would work. So, okay, so I guess Plan C did the trick. Yeah, we just need to make those wide. We probably want that 300% now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
there you go.
hopefully that
Cool.
that makes sense.
Yeah, so now we just need to add the positioning in there, um, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe make the size a little bit bigger. 10 people height, maybe. Ooh, too big. 9 people height. Yeah, that should be a good size,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's ugly, but so is.
The
No, kidding.
checkbox hack.
Yeah, it'll work. It'll do the job.
All right. So
Nailed it.
getting some stuff set up down here for sliding things around. All right.
Yeah, the icons probably should be smaller too.
Yeah, I just dropped them in there. I haven't set any sizing yet. I'll be working on that. SVG width. Let's see. Yep, multiple box shadows on one element plus multiple background images on one element. Let's see, what else accepts multiple properties? Multiple masks. That's a fun one to play with.
Mm-hmm.
Let's graduate our size up to here and do this as cutout size. And then I'm gonna.
All right, so I'm doing the positioning at the bottom, unless you're doing it somewhere else.
No, I set that up for you with the
Okay.
with
Yeah,
those.
yeah, yeah.
So go to town. I'm
Cool.
just fixing a few things with the icons.
Alrighty. Um, yeah. Let me just position this in the right place.
One
You
eternal
can,
debate between David and I on font size.
just use Rems.
Well,
Like even the article that Chris pointed out where it's using M's is only for like widgets if you want them to be different font sizes for each widget or something like that. It makes absolutely no sense.
okay. Well, if you look around line 100, I've set the font size on UI label, and then I'm sizing the SVG using M because I can. And now everything should scale correctly. And I only have to remember only have to set up one unit for the SVG. Hello, Lacoste. How are you? Redbeard and Data David. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have this up on YouTube for you to enjoy after. Should be quite fun for you. Let's see. You did not build the dot that will actually go around them. I'll try to add that in while you're working on the sliding. And
That's not my job. Just kidding. That is my job.
UI dot. Let's see. Let me know when you got something working okay for that.
Okay, so .ui bg. Let's see. .ui bg. Okay, so
Man, this would be so much
when the
easier
first one
with
is
this.
checked, then it's going to be transform translate x. Actually, forget that. We're going to use CSS variables. Haha. X is going to be, X is going to be 0. Yeah, we don't even need to do it on the PG. So X is going to be 0 over here. X is going to be 1. X is going to be 2. And so we could do that to the, well, yeah, that's going to be to the app. That way, this is going to make the whole SAS loop real easy. So let's see, going back to the UI nav, we could, or the UI BG, transform, translate X, calc there that X, times 33.33%. Quit highlighting everything. I can't see anything. Cool. So now click around at the bottom. See, I only need to do one transform, and there we go.
Very nice. Let's see.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
It is. CLX2. Let's see. Okay, there's our dot.
Now I could simplify that as a SAS loop, or I from 1 through 3. This will reduce the size of the SAS code, but not the resulting CSS code, unfortunately.
It simplifies things for maintenance sometimes, not all the time, but
yeah.
Yeah, and that same SAS loop can be used for the selected stuff as well, if we wanted. Let's see. Okay, and you're sliding the entire BG, so that's fine. But let me.
Yeah. So remember, your dot right now is positioned to the center, so I changed that so that it's no longer the center. Now it's the left.
Okay.
That's what that's going to be.
Oh, I've just got position absolute is what's needed here. Top. That's one thing to consider as well, that it won't quite match the design with the overflow hidden in the way we have, because the dot should actually be coming out of it a little bit. So that might be problematic. Okay.
All right, what's this dots that you speak of?
Line 61.
The middle dot.
Yeah.
The middle dot. Yes, yes. Yeah. You want me to help with that math, since I did a bunch much of it, or do you think
Yeah.
you can tackle it?
Please.
Okay, well, all right, undo what you did then. Because
Well,
this
you
is
were using an absolute unit.
yes,
All right.
that's the way to go.
But we
Yeah,
have
just
our
undo
variable.
what you did. And yeah, that looks about right. All right, so you're using over here, what's cutout size? Oh yeah, that's 9 viewport height. Ah, okay, I sort of see what you did.
Right. So when I'm trying to size the dot a little bit lower.
Right, yeah, so just, nah, let's just keep it at cutout size. So here, we'll do this size. So I know this is going to go full height, so size, which is totally fine.
But that's not the same unit. Down here, that's what I was swapping out. This, and change that to cutout size.
Here, let's just use size. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because size right now is 9 VH, and you have
Yeah,
8
that's
VH.
fine. That's what we want. That's
Okay.
exactly what we want.
Take your word for it.
And you could Command D that.
Command D.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
So where's your dots? Okay. Watch this. Probably know where I'm going.
Yeah, sure.
There, done. a lot easier than having to think about the other stuff.
Yeah.
We could even make that 0.8. See what that does.
Yeah.
So with center, it actually looks fine. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So it's pretty dippy, but we if that's a word, but we could adjust the cutouts where it is. So right now it's left there. So if we do top like -50%, just I know that's going to look weird, but oh wow, that's all the way up there. Cool. Well, we're on the right path though. -10%. Oh no, but the problem is, yeah, that the before and after cutouts.
Yeah,
So
but they can shift down if we need.
oh yeah, you're right. So top, let's say -10%. And then so for the before and after, you just do top -10%. But let's go further. This is how you know we should have a variable. Perfect.
Yeah, that there might be some math off there because the 30% of the pseudo element is not necessarily 30% of.
Oh well, okay. So
Is
let's
that
make the
right?
height 100% then.
Well, yeah, that's the problem because this is height cutout size.
Okay, well then the cutout, let's make the height of this one. Oh wait, no, we can't.
Is there a reason you did those as pseudo elements of the cutout instead of the dot or instead of the background?
There is not, but let's keep it that way for now.
Lacoste asks, what's the advantage of using Sass variables apart from browser support? In this instance, it just makes things a lot shorter and easier to use, and this size isn't particularly something we need to adjust dynamically. So it's fine to just use as a pre-processed variable.
Mm-hmm.
Check.
Yeah, I guess I should have done it on the on the other thing. But let's undo a few things here.
Okay, that actually.
Figure out our mistakes.
Well,
My mistake.
hey, leave it how it is for a second, and then look back at the original, and we're pretty close to
Okay,
that because
yeah,
we
we
have
did,
the overlapping. If we could just figure out a way to round the edge of the pseudo elements on the left and right. I mean, I'm okay with it not being rounded, but, you know, what ifs?
yeah, let's make a stylistic choice, not rounded.
That's right. Okay, and then one thing we can do with the labels at top.
Then we need to dip those icons down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
20%ish, something like that.
Unless, of course, they are the current target of, yeah.
Let's see. Okay, there we go. Easy enough. I defaulted the first one to checked so that we get the proper style there. How's that feel?
Feels good.
All right. Let's see. What else do we need to do?
That's a very good question. I think
I can make a few just simple tweaks that'll improve a little bit.
Yeah, but for the most
Thanks,
part,
Dean.
that is
that's
pretty spot on.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. UI dot.
Like, yeah, sure, I could add like a little border to the
right. Border top. That one picks
white border here. Yeah, or maybe even border height. Yeah, just make that nice and thick. Yeah, maybe a subtle box shadow, which we already have.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe adjust the colors. Because yeah, you see the white showing up. So those are the box shadows right there.
Yep. Go. Excellent. Got a subtle little highlight there.
I'm pretty satisfied with it.
Yeah. Any tweaks to the easing that we need to make?
Easing's fine too.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Nice and simple.
Fix there. And yeah, that seems pretty good to me. Just do a quick tweak here. Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Let me tweak the SVG transition a little bit here because that color transitions always feel weird to me. Color and opacity transitions always feel weird when they're a real scooped cubic Bezier. So transition fill mode, what am I typing? Timing function, linear. Linear always feels a lot better, a lot more natural to me. For some reason,
yeah, that makes sense. But to me, there's a bit of a delay there.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We had that in a previous episode too, where we had that little bit of delay, and I do not know where that's from.
Yeah, transition duration.
It's really weird. If anyone could figure that out, that'd be great.
Let me see. What's our transition is 0.3 seconds. Yeah, I did have fill as current color earlier, but that.
Oh, it might be current color.
But I switched away from that, so I'm not sure exactly
And
what's
you know what?
happening.
You know what it might be? My hunch is that current color might be a switch at 50 type of property, oddly enough.
Well, I'm not even
Or,
using that anymore. I'm just directly selecting, setting the fill.
okay.
Yeah.
Well then,
So
your
I don't
guess
know.
is as good as mine.
Yeah, I'll remove font weight bold from that. Maybe that's the cause. Yeah, it's very strange.
Mm-hmm.
At any rate.
Yeah,
There we
that
go.
looks good.
Okay. Shall we move?
Yes.
All right, let me get set up here. Where did my mouse go? There it is. All right. We'll now move into the section of the show known as Keyflections. It's a quick review of the techniques we use to build the animation. And if you have any questions at this time, it'd be great to ask us in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer as we go along.
Yeah, and if you've enjoyed watching us so far, follow and subscribe here on Twitch and YouTube, or pledge at patreon.com/keyframers. So the links are right there.
That's
I think.
right. Yeah, they should be down there. Let us know if they're down there by clicking them and following the instructions there, and we'll get some notifications and give you a shout out in the chat as we go, if you're into that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're watching this after the fact, it's still a great opportunity to do that, and you'll get some gratitude from us for sure. All right, so let's go back to the original here and take a look. Tab bar interaction with animated icons by Keaton for Mind Inventory. And just breaking it down, whenever a nav item is selected, you've got this kind of cutout background that the icons go to, and there's some icon animation happening, and that's great, but not anything essential for what we're trying to illustrate here today. We chose to go CSS only. Why did we do that, David?
Because we are those types of people that like to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, for some strange reason.
But also, you get a lot more flexibility doing that, sort of, in a way, like in terms of color and not having to deal with transform, origin,
Yeah. Yes, if we were going an SVG path route, that would definitely be difficult.
Yeah, and I think in the future we would probably opt to use SVG just for the shapes, and so we could sort of do the similar technique, but with SVG. Sizing gets a bit more tricky because SVG is all relative to its parent's viewports instead of the global HTML viewport or whatever. So those are just some things you have to be concerned with.
Yeah, and sorry if David's head has been covering the nav this whole time. Here's what we're looking at.
Sorry.
If you're just joining us, come on, David. I keep telling you to back away from the camera, but
I know.
No. So going into the HTML, we just have a few input type equals radio, because that's basically what this navigation is. You're toggling between a few choices. So that's what we've set up there, and then in our CSS we're going to target those. But first, let's talk about just the layout. So go ahead and tell us what you did for the nav, David.
Oh, for the nav, it's just so we have the UIBG, and that's going to be the slidey part, and so I sort of visualized that using this paper thingy right over here.
Hashtag paper mockup.
Yep. Hey, these are the best types of mockups. I mean, totally works. So yeah, the UIBG is this part right here, and then the nav is this part covering that. And so that's the general technique. We're doing an overflow hidden on that in order to give it the illusion. of it being one solid thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so and then we just have the each of the labels. And of course, we use labels so that we could connect those invisibly back to the radio buttons.
Right.
Yeah.
Each of those labels, when clicked, because they are label 4, they will target that radio button, so you get a JavaScriptless click event, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so UIBG, we have filling that entire container, so it's getting cut out with the border radius there. And then we'll explain the transform translate later. I'm actually going to move that down to here so that that logic is kind of grouped together. And then, so for UI cutout, if we do border solid pixels red, you can see our cutout element is actually this circle here. And then David set up this box shadow, this multiple box shadow.
We tried a few techniques, and then I remembered that box shadow has this unique property of it's naturally clipped at the element's boundaries. So basically you won't ever see a box shadow behind an element. I discovered that in frustration a long time ago, and I used it to our advantage this time.
Yes, and it works quite well. So we've got, if you go back in the episode, this is a short one, so it's easy for you to go back and watch the full thing. We've got the 3 different box shadows basically coming off to the right and to the left and then down, so that we get that nice full shape, but it's cut out of the actual main element that's highlighted there in red. So that gives us that nice scooped, rounded look. And then we have some pseudo elements to the left and right that are giving us the full kind of background color. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. So let's see. For UI label, nothing too fancy going on there. For the UI pages, I just have a container of the pages set to display flex, and then using that flex overlap technique, I've got each page width 100% but margin right 100%, and that overlaps all of those elements, and then we're going to control the actual positioning and revealing of them with our more specific CSS down below with the checked.
Yeah, basically the same. These are all converging around the same groups of techniques that we've done in previous episodes. And the cool thing is that you're going to start to see a lot of patterns in basically any animation that you see on Dribble or something, where it's like, oh, we could use this technique and that technique to do that. So, yeah, they're all related.
That's right. And I can never remember with input, any input, is it okay to do visibility hidden, or do you need to do opacity 0?
So a long time ago, I think I need to do opacity 0 or something. Otherwise, it didn't work with visibility hidden or display none, because the browser just got too smart and said, "Oh, I guess you didn't need that input to work at all."
Yeah. So. Yeah, I did opacity 0, and that's working, but so was visibility hidden. So
okay.
Anyway,
that's
so
good to know.
Data page is just an attribute I added to each of the UI pages so that we know which one to target. That's what's given us the different background colors there. And then down below here, line 169ish, whenever nav item 1 is checked, the adjacent or the following elements. What's that selector called? The tilde?
The adjacent sibling selector.
Adjacent is plus. General sibling combinator.
Yeah, so just any sibling.
Right, any sibling following.
Yeah.
So this is not really like JS and CSS, but it's a way to accomplish those kinds of states without JavaScript, if that makes sense. But basically, the checked pseudo class is applied to any checkbox or radio element that is selected, and then so the general sibling combinator plus the star allows us to target app here, which will be following those radio buttons, and then we select the actual data page that we want, and we give it the styles that we want. By default, the data page selectors will be opacity 0 and transform translate x negative 100%, putting it off to the left. Oops. And then the currently selected one will be opacity 1, translate x 0%, so that's there in the center. And then any following data pages will be shifted off to the right, translate x 100%.
We should start a band, like an experimental avant-garde music, and call ourselves the General Sibling Combinators. That just sounds so metal.
It does. Yes, the numbers are basically the index of the pages, because we've got the index for each of the radio buttons with the ID up here, nav1, nav2, nav3, and then down here data page equals 1, 2, and 3. So it's just giving us those general selectors, and you can see how the background colors for those are established here, if that helps you visualize that.
It does. It really does.
And then explain your UIBG translation.
Yeah, so the UIBG, basically just that whole paper thing, right? This is a UIBG. And I made it really wide so that, it's never going to cover it's never going to uncover like the naked backside of the nav. So, but we started at the left, and that's going to be easiest because if we position it exactly at the left, so at the first position, then in order to get to the other positions, we could just set a CSS variable, either 0, 1, or 2, and use that to position based on like 33.333% times that CSS variable, and shift the entire thing that amount. And it's still going to be perfectly centered when we do that. So that was the logic there. And by using CSS variables, we cut down on a lot of CSS for this.
We don't really cut down the CSS on it.
We do. Because otherwise...
the CSS variables, yes. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the Sass loop, but yes.
No.
The CSS variables do allow you to basically have one line that applies all of those states.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. We are recreating this animation if you're just joining us. And
if you're just joining us, we're done. So.
Right. You'll want to catch the replay of this afterwards, because we are wrapping up. But real quick, that scoop is done with the UI cutout element here and some box shadows. You'll have to go back and check that out. No worries. Thanks for joining us.
So Joseph, there's actually no SVG in this whatsoever.
Other than the icons.
Yeah, we did like a double challenge. We did no JavaScript and no SVG, except for the icons.
Yes.
Because ain't nobody got time for that.
No, certainly not on a live stream. Thank you, Redye.
No.
Yeah. So I think that's basically it. If y'all have any questions, go ahead and ask. But I think we'll put a button on this after I click around a few times to enjoy our lovely work.
Yeah.
Those icons again I got from icomoon.io. It's a great little interface for just grabbing some quick icons, especially for mock-ups and stuff. Yeah, thanks for submitting, Joseph. Thank you all. All right. Well, let me me start closing this down here, David. You hear that lovely music?
I don't, but
Okay.
I'm sure it's great.
Yeah, it's wonderful. You've been watching Keyframers, the animated collaborative coding live stream where we bring imaginative user interfaces to life. If you've enjoyed this episode and would like to see more from David and I, there are many ways you can support us. You can subscribe and participate on the live streams every week at twitch.tv/keyframers. You can like and subscribe at youtube.com/keyframers, which we just reached 1,000. Remember that, David?
I do.
That
You
was,
made a cool little animation.
Yeah.
And we got a shout out from CodePen.
Yeah. That's been quite awesome. So thank you all for following and supporting in that way.
Yeah.
You can also tweet at us and spread the word, share our episodes and our code samples and all that. Just getting the word out about the show is immensely helpful. You can reach us at twitter.com/keyframers, and that's also where you can submit challenge ideas and all that kind of stuff. And if you really want to support us and be a big fan, an amigo, if you will, you can pledge at patreon.com/keyframers.
Anamigo or Anamiga.
That's right.
Yeah.
See.
You could also buy a t-shirt. We don't have t-shirts yet, but when we do, if we do.
Well, no, just buy any t-shirt and write Keyframers on it.
Yeah.
At
spray paint,
Keyframers.
Sharpie,
Right.
ink press, whatever.
Exactly.
And we do accept submissions for future episodes, just like this one. This is a submission that we did. Thanks for Joseph for posting that and getting us to do it. So tweet at Keyframers with any animations you'd like to see made. Nothing is impossible, except for shaders and WebGL. That's impossible.
we might get into that one day.
Maybe. I really need to level up on that.
Keyframers 2080.
Yeah. You can also present questions or challenges to us, and we'll answer them on the air.
That's right. And that's all for tonight. Thank you all so much for joining us. And until next time, adios, amigos.
Adios.